go to your Excel, okay? Okay, it's already open, Excel? Okay, wonderful. So now, um, when I said what kind of label, if you see over here at home, at general, right? So you can see a lot of, what do you call that? Format, okay? So the first step I have to do is that I press the whole column, okay? And then, so I have to label what kind of data is that, okay? So in this case, it is text. So I put text, okay? Go to this column, and then you can see over here, text, okay? And then you have to do the same for B, C, D, and G. So for B, it will be number. So why I put number but not date? Because if it's date, it have to be complete format, year, month, and day. But in this case, it's only number. So I just put number and then decrease the decimal place. So same goes with GDP. Let me increase this. For GDP, I put number and then this one. And then when you put number for this one, you will notice all of the number will be have same decimal place, okay? And then same goes for unemployment. Number, economic growth as well, number. So another thing that I would do extra precaution step is that usually, for example, like this, right? I would check. Wait, hold on. Where is it? So because it have a lot of USA, for example, like here, right? So I did check back then. It doesn't have duplicate data. So this one we don't need to duplicate unless you know it has a lot of duplicate stuff. Okay. So this one, sometimes I do this step to, for example, if you have, for example, one name and suddenly, for example, a name list, right? A name should be unique to each column. It shouldn't be two names. If two names means that 2%, two names with 1%, so you have to delete. Okay, but to check that, I usually use this function. Okay, so now because we're going to import this to Power BI, I usually convert it to table. So you press Control A and then Control T. So it will pop up this prompt. So you just press OK. So it's going to be turn a blue color, okay? Indicating that this is the confirmed table that you are going to put on Power BI. Because if you're not mentioning its table, there will be a lot of, for example, GHIJ and so on your Power BI, okay? And then you press save. All right. Let me see. So I want you to open your Power BI. Oh, yep. Oh, shortcut. Okay. Now, yeah. If I'm going fast, just let me know. Okay. Okay. Control A. Make sure. Okay. Don't Control A twice. If you're going twice, it's going to highlight everything. Okay. You just press within the column that you wanted, and then Control A. It's going to specifically highlight on the part on which data will going to involve. Then you press Control T. T. Yeah, train T. Right? Got it? Okay, wonderful. Then you press OK. So it's very important to mention table, or otherwise the rest of your data will be appear on your Power BI. So it's going to be tedious for you to delete the rest of it. Yeah, if it's detect the rest of it. So this is the all the necessary step I'm going to do lah. Okay, now you press Control S for save. Okay, or you can save manually. You press over here, save, and then open your new Power BI. Okay, so we are going to do our data like this. Okay, with multiple of button and pages. Okay, so we have so we have time series, and go back to home page, economic indicators. Okay, all right. So the first step is that to import your data from Excel. So if you can notice here, right, we have different format of data. Like what I said just now, before you import, right, each format you have to clean it. For example, if you load from SQL, you clean it from SQL. Do not clean it from here. You may try, but it's going to make more process for you to um, developing your dashboard later on. So to save time a lot, you don't want any errors later on. So it's better for you. It's best for you to clean from the native apps itself. For example, we are doing Excel. So Excel, we have a lot of data pipeline over here as well, but it's essentially the same. Excel SQL can handle live data, a lot of, for example, up to million data, but Excel only limited to 1,000 something, right? So we're going to open all file economic indicator. Okay. So if you notice, it's already automatically detect what table are you prompting from your Excel, because you already tell your Power BI to specifically what do you call that, to create data from this table as well only, or otherwise you'll see a lot of columns if you didn't remove it. And as well, if you notice, all of the what do you call that, all of the data is okay, load on first 200 rows. Okay, so this is the day, just a preview data, and then you press load. Okay, everything is okay. All right, so it doesn't show any error at all. So if it's load correctly, it show everything over here. What does the E symbols shows? It tells us it's a summation. Okay, means that the indication of summation where you can put formula later on. For example, country, you can put Y because we already declare text on the Excel just now. But for the rest of the data, we declare as number just now, right? That's why I think it's very important to tell or Power BI what kind of data in Excel, so that it's able to detect what is it a number that I can sum like that. Okay. So now, the most crucial part is that to choose what color are you going to pick, right? So I usually go here, format page, okay, and then canvas background. Usually I didn't put so bright because it depends on the context. Usually I put slightly darker so that the tone of your data color could be strike up. Okay, but it depends on your company color code. So you can choose whatever colors. For example, just now I choose a little bit dark. Okay, you go here. So this is what I mentioned, the color code. But yes. Oh, what happened? We or only you? Okay, okay, okay. What does it show? Huh? Okay. Uh huh. Okay, okay, okay. So it doesn't show where does it Excel, right? Okay. No. I forgot to mention Excel come with different format. It's CSV, comma separate. I forgot what is V, and then XLSX. Okay. Once you save it, save in XLSX. Okay. So when you press import, a pop-up comes, right? Okay. Now go. Okay. Let me wait. Hold on. Um, blank report. There will be a small section on the bottom right where you can select all file, so you can read everything. Wait. Okay. For example, right? Hold on, yeah. Then you should close another all the previous tab. Okay. You press import, and then the pop-ups come. So it doesn't show any data, right? Is it? Am I correct? Okay. Now you press over here, and then you press all file. So the rest of your data will come out. Okay. Now you choose the data that you have been saved, right? The latest one, the one that you have cleaned. Is it okay right now? Okay. Yeah, correct. Load, and then it'll be appear on your right. There will be the data that you have been telling. Okay, is it okay? How about you? Is it, Sudah? The rest? All right, wonderful. Now, before that, before I create a dashboard, usually I have to decide what color lah. Not too colorful. Just pick two different color. Okay. But for this case, when you go over here, right? If you want to change the background, do not load the background, or unless you want to load a picture behind it. Okay. So you go over here, and then you visualization, and then canvas background, and then you can choose any color you want. Okay, why it doesn't change when I press any color? Because it default on 100% transparency. So maybe you put, for example, 25%. So it's going to be pop another color. Okay, so that will be your background color. Maybe I put 75. I think 75 will be okay. Now, you have to decide what title are you going to put. So you press text box, and then this box will appear. Yep. Oh, okay. Which part? Pardon? Oh, transparent. Okay. Now, okay, let me delete this one first. Okay, you go visualization, right? Over here. And then you go format page, canvas background, and then you can see transparency over here. So you can adjust your transparency of your background. Got it? Okay, wonderful. Yeah, you can slow me down if I'm going too fast. Okay. So basically, I put 75. I think this is a good, not too dark and not too bright. Okay. Now, next step is that you want to put a title of your dashboard. Okay. So you press over here, text box on the home tab, dashboard. And then, okay, I would personally name it as same as the Excel file, economics indicator and inflation. And then you make it at the center, enlarge it as well. 20, 20, 24 should be okay. Okay, it should be like this. Everyone is good? Okay, wonderful. Okay, let me bold it so that it will be much more better. Okay, now let's say you have a logo or you want to find a logo. Okay, so I personally find a logo from the internet or save it manually. Okay, so for example, for this one, I choose World Economic Forum because the data was based on the World Economic Forum. So you can try to Google World Economics Forum, PNG. And then you press over here and then you save the picture. Usually, if you work in a company, they'll provide a picture for you. For this one, you source it from yourself. Okay. You press save image and then save on your download. Right. So far so good. So for example, you have other image as well. You can load your image for insert image. So you can load your photo just now. Okay. World Economic Forum. If it doesn't appear, you can choose all pictures instead of a specific format like just now. I did download it over here. So it should appear like this. And then what I would do next is that I would rearrange the position. So I can, maybe I put here or in the middle. It's up to you, depends. So some people, they like to put logo. I personally would like to put logo because it's my, usually company, if they create a dashboard, they put a logo lah. Okay. All right. Now, so you have your base done. Okay. Everyone is okay? Sudah? Belum? Okay. Okay. Yes? Yeah, 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 sure, sure. Boleh.
Using the application since it is from like UPL.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
So like I insert from here
insert, I think it will be file. Try. Wait. Insert. Boleh drag ah? Drag. Tak boleh. Browse? How about browse? Oh, no. Cancel. Wait. Shape. Sorry, I tak familiar dengan ni. Yeah, this is new to me. Okay, it's okay. Tak ada logo. Yeah, it's optional. Yeah. Oh, some people, they are using different version of Power BI. So if you're using a web version, it might be not compatible at certain point. Yeah, there might be a missing or a limitation. Okay, but it's okay. That one will be because I think it will be different version. Okay, so that will be a logo lah, or any images if you want to put, for example, company image or any image that you want to visualize as well. But that image will be static; it will be moved. Okay, so next part is that what are you going to try to analyze? Let me see. Okay, so let's start with the card. Okay, this part on the right part. So usually we use the total number of the cumulative number of your data. Okay, so you go over here, visualization. There's a card section. You press it. All right. So you can adjust wherever you want to put. So I put on top right over here, and then the first information that you're going to put is that GDP. Okay, sorry. Okay, you press GDP. Okay. Now you have your data appeared here. So how are you going to make it much more presentable, because it's not really good looking? I know the user interface is not important, but if you give more presentable dashboard, it will be much better for your client. Give a good impression. Okay, now the first thing I will do is that I will remove the label over here. So you press here, and then you go format your visual, and then you turn off the category label. Then I would go general, and I put my own title over here. So it will be GDP in billion USD. Right. So your title will be small like this one. Okay. Let me check. So usually, because it's so small, I would personally bold it. Okay, and I put it in the middle. Okay, let me check. Right. So next I would choose, for example, the background color. Okay, still same section. You go down, effect, and then maybe you want to go a little bit darker color. Not too dark. Oh, no, I think it's like 75. I think it's too dark. This one, 50. Yeah, I think like this is okay. Not too dark and not too bright. So you press here, and then format visual, and then general. You can see wait. effect over here. Is it correct? Yeah, correct. Background effect. Now, um, I personally like to standardize all of it. So there's a very useful feature. I think it was came out last year. Forgot, but it's quite recent. It can copy all the style of your card. For example, not card, all style of your template that you have been done, and you can copy and paste only the format, not everything. This will be save your time a lot. Okay. So now you want to do a shadow and visual border. Okay. I would personally put a rounded corner, maybe 20. And then you can see it's rounded like this. It's much better than the first one. Yep. Pardon? It's not the same color. Oh, you can change the color over here. So you press the card and then format your visual and then general and then title. So you can choose your text color. Is the background? Oh, wait. Let me have a look. What is it? Can you see? Ah, okay. Right. Okay. So you have multiple ways to to showcase your title. So the one that you did just now, it's not under here. It's wait, I think it's visuals. Let me check. Yeah, because you choose this one background color. I put nothing, but if I put black, it's going to be black. You missed the diff. I think you choose the different one. So I personally put no fill. Is it okay? Right, wonderful. So usually I put unit on top of here so that you know it's 1 billion USD for GDP. Okay. Now do the same for the rest of the card. Okay. Inflation, unemployment, and economic growth. So what I usually do is that I press this one. Hey, wait. I press the card again. Make sure it's the same size. Or you can overlap like this. Okay. It will be same size like this. Okay. And then you want to put, for example, inflation rate. So um, it doesn't have any style right now. What I would do is that I press this one, I press home, format painter, and then I press back the card. So it's automatically do the styling for me. So it saves time a lot. Yeah. Is it okay? No? Okay, sure. So, okay, now when you try to, okay, when you have your first card already done, you press your second card. Okay, it's going to be appear like this, and then I would be resize it up to same size. Okay, now you want to put another value, for example, inflation rate. You press this one. Okay, you can drag it or you can press it. Okay, so to save your time, you don't want to do all go through again. You press this one, and then you press format painter, and then you press the card that doesn't have any format at all, and it's going to be changed like that. Is it okay? All right, wonderful. Since it doesn't have any title, you have to put your own title. Press your card, go to format, visual, and then general, and then go to your title. Okay, and the title was inflation rate. All right. Everyone is okay? So for the next part, let's try another value. For example, unemployment rate. Okay, it will be the same step as well. So I would press card, and it's going to appear like this, and resize it to the same value, to the same dimension, and then unemployment rate. So you press unemployment, you can tick it or you can press it. Oh, sorry, unemployment. Okay. Now you press the previous data that you have already painted or you decorated. You press the format painter, and then you press the one that you wanted to decorate. So it saves time a lot. And then because it doesn't have any title at all, you haven't assigned it. You go to format your visual, general, title, and then unemployment rate. Right. So rate will be percent. Okay. I emphasize on the format because some people they unsure what format are you going to utilize. Okay. Now the last part will be economic growth. Same. You go to card, make it smaller. Press the previous card, then format painter. Oh, sorry. You have to label your, no, it's not label. You have to load your data. For example, this one, economic growth, you drag it, and you have your economic growth, and then it appears like that. Okay. So label as well. So you can see all of your format is in the same form. Yeah. Everyone got it right? All right, wonderful. So when the first when you try to develop your dashboard, you have to get what API, what KPI that you're going to tell your client or your supervisor, right? So we have 4 important key parameters over here, but this is the total. Okay. Now we want to see economic growth from bar chart. Okay. So the next thing we have to do is that you press stack bar chart over here, visualization. Okay, you size it. I think I personally would size it same as this one. For this one, you just utilize all the spaces because I think you have a lot of empty spaces over here. Okay, now pardon, what shape? Oh, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. Yeah, it won't appear perfectly until you load the data. Okay, this one, it's preview. Okay, now you have to identify what's your X and what's your Y. So you press here, you can see X and Y exist. And then for Y, I would do country. Okay, you drag and then you drop over here. And then because you want to see economic growth for each country, right? You want to see the rate. So the x-axis would be economic growth. Is it appear for you? This one. Is it? Wait, let me have a look. Uh-huh. Oh, uh, press over here.
This one?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and then you organize over, put in the middle. Yeah, make it smaller. And then you have to identify your x and y axis over here.
X has what?
Y is your country. This one, your country.
X.
X is your economic growth. Okay, now you got it. How about the rest? Okay. All right, wonderful. So this data I taken from Kaggle and it's open source from World Economics Forum. So you can see the color doesn't blend in with your background with the font, right? So what I would personally do is that the same method as just now. I would press this one and then format painter and then go over here. Okay, now it saves times a lot because you can see um, you have rounded corner, you have shadow, but for example, this one, I think you need to increase the brightness or increase the contrast. And then maybe you can highlight, for example, this one 150 and 0 because this one is unseen. You can't see, so that you have to label on your bar chart. Okay, so because it have a lot of countries, I think it's a good idea to label it. Okay, so that people can distinguish on each country. Now, or have everyone get to this part? All right. So since we do have over here, we go to visual and then y-axis, and then I would make the color black, so it appear much more strike color. Okay, and then same goes for x-axis. I would personally do for black color, so you can see better visual in striking color. Okay, now I have two ways to label the data. If you identify what x and y exists, I think you can remove the country, for example, the label from the country, because it doesn't look nice since you already know what is your y axis. You can remove that as well. And then you can remove the economic growth because you already mentioned on the title. So if you don't have title, you can mention both x and y axis. But if you have already title, you can remove the x and y axis. Okay, so you cannot have both because it will take in a little bit of spaces, and as well it doesn't look really nice. So what I personally do is that I would remove the x and y axis label because I have already mentioned in the title. So the process will be, go to your x axis, and then the title I would remove it like this. Okay, same goes to your x axis. Okay, now Afterwards, I would go to grid line and match with the black color so that I can see the dotted line in the middle. Okay, but the thing is that it has a lot of countries, and to approximately read the data, for example, I can read China around hundreds and maybe Bangladesh have hundred something. I couldn't I it doesn't specify anything, okay? Unless you particularly, for example, in China and India, okay? So to combat that, I typically label the data. Unless you have, for example, 4 or 3 data on your bar chart, you might not need that. But because it have a lot of parameter over here, you have to label it, okay? So you go the same one visual and then turn on the data label. So you have the exact number that what are you going to try to tell for your client, your supervisor, or for someone who intended to read your dashboard. Okay. Since it already black, so I'm going to leave it. And then, um, okay, I would personally change the title as well and remove the sum of. I just put economics. Economics growth percentage by country. That is much better. Okay. So you go to format visual and then press this one, format your visual on general, and then on title you can adjust your title like just now. Okay, if you notice the blue color of economics World Economic Forum is different from this blue, right? So how do I know the color code of the World Economic Forum? Typically I just Google it because uh, they typically do it open source. Okay, economic color code. Okay, now I can see the blue color here because this blue is not the same as the blue showed over here. Okay, so if you want to match that blue, sorry, you just copy the hex code, this one. Okay, I personally look, if you work into company, they'll give a lot of code for color, but from what I noticed, for example, if you work for different department, or for example, you collaborate project with multimedia or creative art department of your company, what I do notice is that they only look for hex code. So they never look into, unless you do a movie editing, they particularly look on RGB, cyan, MYK value, and Patone. So you just copy this one and then go for here and then go to visual, go to bars, okay, this color, more color. So you can see hex over here, right? So instead of going red, green, and blue, you can just one shot copy all the color. So it will be the same blue as the intended one. Okay. Got it? Okay, repeat. Okay. So the first step is that you go into, for example, Google, right? So you type World Economics Forum color code. Now, you can get straight color code from here as well. You right click and then you copy. And then you go to your Power BI, go to your color, more color. Oh, okay. On your format visual, and then this one, and then you scroll down all the way down. It's same as y-axis, x-axis, grid line, and then there's a bar section. You expand the bar, then you press this one, and then you have this part. Got it? All right, cool. And then I simply just Control V and then I get it. And you can usually you can adjust the transparency, but I personally I didn't because I want the color more stripe compared to my background. Okay, so now basically you complete almost half of your first page. Okay, now the next step would be you want to differentiate it by year. Okay, just now when I mentioned differentiated by year, right? So if you want to use this feature, we always use slicer. Okay, so you press over here, then there's a stuff going to come out. Okay, you adjust it over here. Okay, perhaps slightly smaller, and then you choose year. Okay, by default you are going to use appear like this lah. Okay, I would personally use line like this if it's too long, but if it's in the short year, for example this one from 2010 and 25, I would change it shorter one, because this one is like the distance is not that huge, so I would do change your style. It's up to your preference, but I personally I would choose um wait, let me check. Vertical list, yep, like this. So you can see each individual number from the vertical list. Okay, now to save your time, same concept as well, you press this and then format painter, and then you paste on here. Okay, so this function helps to save times a lot. Okay, to standardize your design, format painter, and then wait, hold on, let me check format painter, and then now it changes. Okay, so you notice that the title of your slicer is drastically small. So you go over here, format visual, and then you remove the header because it's not the header section. Okay, what's the difference between header and title? What the header is like a pre-built, what does it come from your data, but if you go to the title over here, you have a lot of flexibility. For example, divider, spacing. Okay, now you mention here. Okay, now it's in the middle, same like the rest, and it's black color as well. So that will be save times a lot if you use that function. Okay, as you complete the first part, before I create the next button, because when unless you know what button are you going to try to do, you just put it. But right now we are trying to look after what other parameter that we can plot. So I would create multiple pages. I don't want to cram all of the graph in one pages. Okay, on one page. So I would personally create another graph so that I can know what type of analysis that I'm going to trial. Because if you cram the graph, it's going to be small to be seen by the observer. Okay, now I personally don't press new page because why? I don't want to start from zero. To save time, I would duplicate it. Okay, right click and duplicate. Now you have duplicate of page one. So let me check over here. All right, what do I want to retain is that the background and the title. So I would personally remove the year. This one. Okay, you can highlight this one as well. Right, now you have the same background and title and headers and also image from the first page instead of creating a new page and then create from ground zero. So the next step is that time series trend. Okay, so if you want to create a series of timeline, the best will be a line chart because you want to make your x-axis as a time span. Okay, it's much more presentable than other graph, right? So first thing you have to do is that you press line chart. Then wait, let me. All right, let's begin with inflation rate over year, right? So it will appear an empty graph like this. So your x-axis will be year and your y will be inflation rate. So you have this kind of data. Okay, now am I able to format Painter from different page? Yes. So I think this function is definitely helpful. And then you press over here. So all of your data will be automatically um, appeared based according to your, what do you call that, the one that you intended to do from the first page. So it will be standardized for all of your data. Okay, so there will be minor adjustment. For example, I don't want the word of sum of because we uh, that's unnecessary. So you press here, you go to format your visual and then remove the sum of. So you have this one. Okay, and I think I would personally highlight all of the numbers on x-axis and y-axis. Okay, for example, okay, here, and then visual, and then x-axis, and then values, and then bold. So I bold all of my x-axis. Repeat the same process on your y-axis as well. Values, bold. Okay. Now I think it's much more better to look at this way. Okay. So the next part would be economic growth, unemployment rate, and GDP. Okay, you guys try. Okay, let's do it one by one. Okay, so now since we already completed this part, okay, if you notice, we can copy the format Painter from previous page because the previous page is different chart. So if you want to copy format, it's better from this this chart. Okay, so now you go to line chart again. So the next part would be economic growth. Okay, over year. Okay, you adjust it a bit. Economic growth. So your y-axis will be economic growth, and then your x-axis will be your year. So you have your data appear. So and also you can see like specifically what year does it improve and not improve, right? So now the same process as well. You press this one on the the first graph that you did, and then you press format painter, and then you go through the one that on the new table, on the new graph. So it's going to be automatically do it for you, right? Everyone is good? All right. All right, repeat the same step for the rest of parameter, okay? So again, the step will be line chart, then identify your x and y axis. So for this case, it will be unemployment rate. Drag it to y axis, and because it's a time series, so time will be indicating the year. So drag the year to your x axis, and then you have the employment rate by the year, okay? Then you format painter as well. Right, now it appears. So, but every time if you use the format painter option, it doesn't really change the title. So you have to remove the sum of, for example, like this one. You go over here, format visual, general, title, and then you just remove the front part. So it'll be much better like this one. Same goes with employment rate as well. All right. All right. Now the next part is that do the last one. Okay, hold on. Let me make all of it symmetry. Okay, like this. So go to your line chart, and then identify your x and y axis again. So in this case, your y axis will be GDP. Your x axis will be here, and then copy the format painter. Okay, you press here and then format painter, and then you paste. Right now you have all the value over here. So this is what we call time series data. So why do I have to present all of the four data in this one page? Because if you notice in the front page, okay, usually in the front page, I only indicates what's the big number. For example, the biggest cell or the sum of the cell, or for example, in this case, the sum of the GP, the total of inflation rate. Okay, so mainly if you want to put on the main page the big number. Okay, this same goes to when you try to pitch on your hackathons, or you try to pitch on your startup, or finding on funder. What is the main attraction is the big number. So you have to what do you call that, put the big number on the first page, and then for the second page you more specialize on what kind of data you are trying to tell. Now, why I would insist to make time series in the same page, because if you can see here, we can relate what kind of data, where's the spike, and you can see the range of the year is all the same. The manipulate variable is the year, okay? And no, the constant variable is the year, and then the manipulate variable is the y-axis, okay? Now you can see the relation between, on for example, inflation rate, economics. Oh, the GDP and as well the unemployment. So wait, let me change the title for this one. Remove the sum. Okay, now when you try to present this kind of data, right? Now you can see the GDP increase by year, but this is the world data. We haven't filtered it out, right? Now we can see overall most of the country decreased economic growth on 2020. Perhaps this is due to the COVID, and then employment rate plummet from 2020, perhaps because of AI. Yeah. So this kind of data that we have to look after, and then we have to find the correlation. What's the consequences behind it, right? And you can see the inflation rate increases a lot from 2020 and then to the mid of 2020, before 2025. So how about if we want to try to look after a specific country? So what is the function to look after the specific country? It will be slicer. Okay. So you go over here, slicer, and then you expand it. Maybe you give slightly room and you press country. So like just now, I just copy the format painter, go to the slicer. Right? Now it changes the color according to the same format on the previous table. Okay. Now we are trying to put it in between. Okay. Make it a little bit smaller. Okay. So that you do have room for the button and also for the slicer, right? Okay, now you can see it's very tight space, right? So you don't want like people to scroll like this. It would be not convenient for them. What would I do is that change the way how does it show up. So you press here, and then you press format your visual. Okay, first thing I would personally remove the header, and then slicer setting. You can change drop down. I think drop down will be better because if I would do vertical this, it'll be a tight space for me to scroll down. But if I do drop down, I can look after the countries much more easier. Okay, so sorry, let us see for example Malaysia, right? So you can see the Malaysia scale for economic growth. It's almost the same as the rest of the country, but the worst inflation rate would be on 2020. It's negative, and also the highest unemployment rate is right after 2020. So it's increasing and steadily decreasing. So now it's very important. Okay, now when you work in industry, some people will analyzing data and some people will try to connect your data from what are you doing from the dashboard. So this is why this is the importance of to know your data, right? Because you're not going to simply know what is your data trying to tell. Okay, another thing is that if you notice, I do some highlighting on each part of the data. For example, the small number over here, right? Because if we only rely for the dotted line, it wouldn't be much better, or accurate to read. So it's better to label it this way. Okay. So now that is the data relation. Now I can do a button. So for the button, you just press insert over here. Okay. On top of there, you can go insert and then button. So if you can see a lot of function of button, you can do left arrow, right arrow, reset. Reset means that, for example, if you filter multiple data, you don't want to unfilter back, you just press reset. Okay. And then information, bookmark, Q&A. So what I would personally do is that I would customize the data itself. Okay. So you press blank. So you get a blank button like this. So before you try to assign what kind of button function is that, you have to what do you call that? Label it, or otherwise you're going to lose track where's your button. For example, if I press this, so at least I can see the color, but sometimes it's transparent for no reason. So you go here, shape, and then wait, hold on, style, I think. Okay, text. So maybe I would say I would label home page. Okay, same as previous what do you call that? The other button will be lightly, and then I choose black. Bold, and then on the middle. Okay. Now I want my button to be filled with color, so I just press this one, fill, turn on. Maybe I choose slightly darker color like this, or maybe blue as well, right? What's the color code again? Okay, you copy the color code so that all of the color will be standardized. All right, so you have your button done over here. Now it doesn't satisfy me much, because what do I notice is that the other chart has rounded edges, so I want to make same one. Okay, so I actually can copy paste from here to here, but if I keep using the format painter, you won't eventually find out if you use to format painter, you will, what do you call that, lost or doesn't keep track of where's the actual button. Okay, go to general. Wait, style, I think. Okay, button style, I would personally put shadow and glow, and no, only shadow. Then I will put shape. I go to shape, and then rounded corner I will increase to maybe 15, like this, bigger. So this be your homepage button, right? Now you want to assign what role is the button is that you go to action and turn it on, and then there will be a section type. So I couldn't use back because back is just like Control Z. Okay, so if you want to go to homepage, you press page navigation, and then you go to page 1. Okay, now if you want to try the button, you press Control and click. So it's going to be your home page. Everyone is okay? Okay. 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 Okay, now this will be your first button lah, going to the home page, right? Okay, now you completed your second page, so you have to name your page, all right? So I would name it as a time series trend. All right, hold on, a little bit thirsty. So this is basically how do you do time series. Okay, what? Which shape? The button? All right. So I have two ways to do it actually, but I always recommend for the format painter if you always use for it. But I don't recommend to use every time because sometimes you might forget some step. Okay. Now let me restart again. You go to button. You go to blank. So you have empty button. So you go to shape. So if you want a rounded, wait, before you make it rounded, you make it color as well, right? You go to style. You go to fill. So you have a fill color. For example, let me choose a blue, right? Sorry. Okay. Now to make it round, go to the button up, and then you can change this one, the slider. Is that good? Right. Wonderful. And then if you want to write the title of the page, you go to this title. Okay, wait. No, not this one. Go to style, text. Yeah, this is better. Now you can press home page. And then I personally bold everything. So this will be your button. And then again, action, page navigation, and page one. So that it goes straight to page one. Okay. So that will be your first button. Now, let's go to the next part. So the next part will be economic indicator cross country. Okay. Now, like previous step, I would personally duplicate. All right. Now, because I just want all of my uh, title, background, and also the icon will be the same, so I just duplicate it for the sake of save time, right? So you delete everything because you already have all of that. So I wouldn't delete the home page because I think I would recycle it. And then, okay, right. The first step will, okay, now I think this is the most interesting part where we can use this map data. So if you go to Excel, right, Excel doesn't have that function. So Excel does have this bar chart, line chart, or donut chart, but it doesn't have data like bubble map, right? Or even heat map. So this is where Power BI play important role. So if you want to see bubble size on each country, right? Now, go back to our data, okay? And then you press map. Do not press fill map, it's map. All right. So now, how does the map identify which country are you going to put inside here? Okay. Now, because you put your country as a text earlier, the part of the workshop, so it doesn't identify as a number. So you just can drag and drop. Okay. Drop it at location. Okay. Now you can see all of each bubble, but the bubble doesn't represent anything. We don't see any increasing in size. So you have to put what are you going to make the bubble sizes, right? So for this case, let's go to GDP. Okay, GDP. Sorry, GDP, and then go down here, bubble size. You can see there's a specific section called bubble size. Okay. So you can see each different GDP for each country that have you been listed. Okay. Now, if you can see here, the bubble here is what? Yep. Okay. But the bubble is appear, right? No. Oh, it's not field map. It's the regular map.
This one.
Yeah, correct.
Uh-huh.
Okay, press it.
Uh-huh.
Country and try to add bubble size. Okay, try to GDP here. Oh, I think this is wait, I think you try to go here. File, option, setting, and option. Option, option.
Global. Where?
Wait, global and
Security.
oh, down. I think this one. Yeah, try to take it. Press OK. Map and fill are disabled. Okay, setting again. Okay, try to delete and press again. Okay. Okay, now it's great. Try to recreate again. Country in location.
Where?
Drag the country on location. And then drag the GDP on the bubble size. Yep. Oh, wait. Okay. Try again.
Option.
Okay. Option. Okay. Security. Okay, down. Down. How about to turn on this one?
This one?
Yeah. Okay. Press OK. Or maybe you can try to save this and reopen again. Yeah. Control S, and then you save world economics, for example. Okay, save it, and then close it, and then reopen again. Try it. Okay, open again. Yeah. All right, I see the title. Okay, wonderful. Okay, I think you should do the same as well. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So anyone has a problem? Say problem. Okay. Now I just noticed that some settings has it's not turned on by default for some reason. So okay, before anything crash out, firstly I need to save. You guys need to save this data. Okay, what I would do is that I press Ctrl S. Okay, and then I personally just save in desktop lah, but you can change it the location. So maybe I save it as world economics. Okay, and then I press enter. So just to double check, I just Control S again, and then to re-enable the map, you go to File, Option, and Setting, Option. All right, there will be a pop-up. Hold on, yeah. All right, now you have to go to Security, and then you have to turn on both of this. Use ArcGIS for Power BI and use Map and Field Map for Visual. And then you press OK. Now, it doesn't appear at first. You try to delete this. And then you close it again. Okay, save it again. Okay. Try to reopen the World Economic. Okay. World Economic, where is it? I'm not sure why does it appear on some laptop, because for mine, even though it doesn't turn on, it still produce some map lah. Yeah. Or maybe it's your GPU doesn't detect anything at all. Yeah. It loads. All right. Though it might take some time. Okay. Now try to press map. It's not field map, it's map. Right? Try to recreate what you supposed to done. Okay. So what are you going to tell the map is that to fill in the country first. So what's the location? So I put the country that you have been labeled. And then you scroll down, there will be a section called bubble size. So we want to see different bubble size based on the GDP. You drag the GDP to the bubble size. Should be appear like this. The rest is okay? Sudah okay? Belakang okay? Over there? All right, wonderful. So as you can see right now, right, the scale of the bubble size is not satisfied. And you couldn't distinguish between the small sizes, right? So you have to increase the size so that you can see more clearly. It is same as if you ever use scanning electron microscope. Every time you use SEM, there will be a scale on the picture that you try to capture, right? On the bottom right. What is the function of scale? So that you tell the researcher how small is your sample is, okay? It's not in the matter of the picture. So here we, same for these cases, because we want to see, because the GDP is big, but the GDP is small relative to the world size. So we have to increase the size, okay? So we go over here, and then bubble, I would personally increase to 100 so that you can see it see much better in the sense of you can see the small sizes, right? For example, Thailand, right, compared to Malaysia, right? So this way you can see your data more presentable. Okay. So wait, let me try to make this bigger again. So what do I like about the new function in Power BI is that you can navigate to the map setting, and then you can choose different kind of map. So I would personally choose aerial because it gives more 3D. It's not 3D. It's like a real image from Microsoft, right? And then even I think if you can zoom it, you can see like specific places. Yeah. So I would personally use aerial. They have a lot of choices. For example, you can go dark, light, grayscale, and road. So it depends on what color scheme that you choose according to your dashboard. So I would choose personally this one lah. Right. Next step is that I would remove the title because it doesn't suit it well. So the title will be over here, general, and then remove it. Right. So you have your nice, what do you call that, world map. Now you can see the color behind that is white, and then it is sharp edges. So what I would do is that because it's small modification, I would take a step where I copy from here, format painter, and then next page, paste over here. So it will be produced the same format as the previous what do you call that, chart. Okay. Okay, just remove the title and then should be done. Right. Now the next part is that donut chart. Okay. I would personally avoid donut chart if the differences between the top three is so small, or if the differences between top 5 or top 6 or top 10 so small, because it's very hard to evaluate the chart glancingly if the differences is too small. But this one is okay, right? Okay, now we can we want to do a donut chart of inflation rate. Okay, press your donut chart, right? And then go to inflation rate. Inflation rate and your country. Okay, now you can see different value of inflation rate according what do you call that, the country. You can see the biggest inflation is, the top three will be Turkey, Pakistan, and Russia. And you can see the bar on the donut chart on the Turkey and Pakistan. You can see the a good distinction lah. But when it comes to, for example, Russia, Bangladesh, and India, it'll be small. That's okay because the top three or top 10, I would say, if it's too small within each other, it is bad indication to use this one. It's better to use stack bar, but in this case it's okay, right? Yeah, this one is much more presentable in my opinion, because you can see the steady decrease here, but here you couldn't. But because top 10 is different to each other, it's fine, right? Now what I would personally do is that to copy the format painter. Okay, but if you can see, right, it doesn't cover all of the stuff. For example, the external label and also the legend. This is because um, the format painter that we use just now is for the map, and map doesn't have all of this external stuff. Okay, now we have to manually label it out. Right. First and foremost, I would do the title, go to the format visual, and then general, and then I have to turn on the title. So the title would be wait, so yeah, I think this is correct title. Just remove the sum off, right? Now, the number behind here and the legend, it's blend in with the background of the chart. So I would make it more darker, right? For example, the legend, go to the visual part, the legend, then the text, and you can press dark color. Same goes to the data labels. Okay, you scroll down, and then there will be a option, value, and you press dark, right? So that would be label. Okay, now for me, it's not for me. Some people, they don't like insignificant value. For example, the small value, right? It doesn't really mean anything. For example, if you run a sprint, 100-meter sprint, lari olahraga, right? You don't want to see. You only see top 3 or top 5, but you don't see people from bottom 10 or from bottom 5. Now, same applies to this kind of data. I would personally label for top 10 as well, right? Now, how do we do this? We go here, then filter, and then country, top N, right? So now it depends how much data that you handle. Okay, let's try top 10. Okay, apply, filter. Wait, hold on. Okay, drag the country by the value. Now you can see much better. It's not style. It's more presentable because just now all of the numbers are squeezed within each other. So from here you can see much better presentable data, right? You can see, and as well, it's easier to interact. For example, the small section, right? Rather than it have to be squeezed all of stuff. So the top function is very important because it showcases that you want to see the one of the most significant value of your data. So the first analogy I can say is that the sprint lah. If you olahraga, right, people not going to look after the bottom 10 or bottom 5, right? So you look after the top 3, top 10, or top 5, right? Same goes for sale. You go to the hot selling item. So those items, you want to boost or you want to get more marketing on those items. This is because you want people to buy more of those items. You understand the trend that those items give more revenue to your companies. Okay. Now, for example, here we see inflation rate. Why we highlight top 10? Because those top, for example, top 10 country has high inflation rate. Now, for example, you are attending World Economic Forums. You have to be wonder, or you have to be wanted to know why those countries have high inflation compared to the other country out there, right? So this is the function of the top 10. Okay. So actually the filter have a lot of function, right? Bottom 10 as well. And you apply. Okay, this is the type of data I can say it's not a good data lah. For example, right, your top three, all of the number are close to each other. Means that it's like this. It doesn't really showcase anything. In my opinion, it doesn't looks really good. If you encounter this kind of data, try to not use pie chart or donut chart. Use stack chart or line chart, stack chart or column chart. That will be better compared to if it's. I mean, if the case of top 10, it's same to each other, right? All right. So this is just example. Let's go back to the top. Yes. Pardon? What value? Right. Uh-huh. Okay. Oh, okay. Now you bring the country, yeah.
This one?
Okay, hold it and then go to buy value. There.
Here?
Yep.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah, and then apply it.
okay.
All right, wonderful. Yeah. Try it. All right. Great. Yeah, so that is very important if you try to, for example, mitigate something lah, right? If the margin is so small, it doesn't mean significant lah, right? Especially for profit. Okay, so let's go to our regular part. Okay, so let's do unemployment and economic growth. Okay, unemployment and economic growth, but this time we'll do a bar chart. All right. All right. So what you have to do is that you press stake bar chart. Sorry, not this one. All right. Now you have, okay, what do we label again? Okay, unemployment rate. So your y-axis will be unemployment rate and your x-axis is unemployment rate and your y will be your country. All right, now you can see. Okay. Now, if you notice, right, the number of the top 3 and top 5, they're almost within the small range. Okay. Okay. What if we use pie chart? Okay. Okay. Even we visualize like this, we doesn't see a lot of distinction between all of those pie. So I think pie chart have, if you want to use pie chart, you have to see a huge distinction like this. Although, let's try to filter it out, right? I'm just going to demonstrate. For example, sorry, country, top. Even top 10, it shows almost the same pattern. If you can see it or not, right? So, for me, right, if you try to use pie chart or donut chart, try to avoid those have almost same range to each other because it doesn't mean anything. And also, you're not trying to tell anything to your client or your customer, right? So I would personally avoid that. Okay, let's clear it. Right. Now, because we already have designed this, we can Format Painter, right? Okay, you got your bar chart. Now, okay, now another thing is that I forgot to mention, you can actually adjust this whether to be inside or outside, because sometimes it can be overcrowded if you go all outside. So if you notice it's like crowd over here, you can go down, sorry, format visual, slice, no, it's spacing thing. Wait, hold on, where is it? Okay, now here, detail labels. So on the detail labels, you can mention whether you prefer outside or you prefer inside, or you want it inside only or you want it outside only, right? So okay, let's see if inside is like this, right? If you have tight space, inside will be definitely better. Prefer outside and prefer inside, right? So this is like case if you have very tight space or you want to merge all of your data in one particular dashboard, right? So I think that will be a great case scenario. But for this one, I think all outside will be okay lah, right? And I forgot to mention that I think we need to bold it. So the color will be much more pop out compared to the background, okay? Now, same goes to this one. You can see because we already label on here unemployment rate by country, so we know this is country, we can remove it lah. So unless you don't have any title, you can put country, or your customer doesn't, or your manager, your supervisor doesn't know what your y-axis you can label. But for this case scenario, we can remove the title of the y-axis, right? Now we can remove it. You press here, and then visual y, remove the title, and then you have to make the color black, because gray is almost the same as the background color, right? And then same goes to x-axis as well, okay? X-axis value black, right? Now, because the value close to each other, I would personally highly recommend to put a small like number, so label, sorry, a small label on this one, okay? So you put data label, for example, like this one, right? You can see the unemployment rate for US and Russia almost the same, which is 90 and 96. So I think it will be better if you put a number so that you indicate how close it is, right? So, and then I would change the title, remove the sum off, right? Yeah. Right. So this will be the sum of the employment rate. Okay. Now, let's do for economic growth, okay? The first step, we have to press the stack bar chart. And then you have this part, okay? Economic growth would be your x-axis, and then country will be your y-axis. Now you have your economic growth. And to save your time, you go to Format Painter, and then you paste it. So you have exactly the same style for the first and the second graph. It only, actually you can Format Painter all of it, but some of the value will be missing, because for example, like this one doesn't have title. If you copy it might be remove the title of this as well, right? But usually to save time, typically I use Format Painter. It saves time a lot, okay? Now you complete almost all of it, okay? And that is wonderful. So for this one, oh yeah, year. Okay, now this one is by country, right? So let's do it by year, okay? Because I think this one is okay. Let's see. So if you want to do like by year, okay, for example, yeah, you can remove this country. Then you drag the year. So there are another interesting part is that you can use a tile. So this tile you can choose what year you want, right? 2019, 2018, right? Yeah. So this is another style or method that you can use for your slicer, right? Okay, I think we're done on this part. So let's go to correlation analysis. Okay, what I would wait before that, I would rename this as economic indicators across country. Name Control A, economics indicators across countries. Right, now you have your third page done, right? So you have another 2 pages to go. So I personally I complete all the dashboard, then I finalize with what button I should put lah. Okay, now duplicate the same process. Okay, let's see what I have to keep and what I have to remove, right? So I think I have to remove the map, inflation rate, countries, mix, all right? So okay, instead of bubble size, there are one interesting table which is called metrics. So metrics, it shows bubble as well as country, and I think it's part of the new function because I didn't notice metrics back then, and as well for metrics chart, it never been appeared in Excel. Okay, so I think it's unique, and I think it's a good function as well, yeah, because you can see, you know, more clearly the bubble instead of the map. Okay, now so you press the metrics, this one. So I would personally put one big table. Okay, now your wait, let me check. Is it metrics? I think it's okay. Your x-axis will be inflation rate. And then oh no, it's not metric. It's not metrics. Wait, sorry. Wait, what is this again? X-axis and y-axis. Hold on, yeah. Oh man, this not 3 man. Yes. Let's get that. Wait. Yes, you're right. Yeah. Thank you. I almost forgot. Okay, now Okay, sorry about that. I almost forgot. Yeah, scatter plot. Scattered plot. There are two ways of you using it. If you have multiple datas that have different variable that you want to see, and scatter plot is one of the great way lah. Okay, now wait, your x-axis will be inflation rate, your y-axis will be economics, right? Okay, economics growth. Okay, now what are you trying to see over here is that what country intercept on the scatter plot. Okay, so I wait, here is it. So we put the country on the size. Okay, and also wait, no, the country on the hold on, I think it's on the value. Yeah, it's on the value, it's not on the size. Let me check on this one. Yes. Okay, so wait, hold on, let me check again. Value x y legend country size sum. Okay, sorry. So for the scatter plot, there are a lot of variables. Okay, now for the x-axis we put inflation, and then for the y-axis we put economics growth. Okay, economics growth. Okay, correct. And then for legend we put country. Okay, because that is the label for your data, right? And then the size will be your GDP growth. Now you can see different size of your bubble. Like just now, you can control the bubble. Okay. For example, wait, let me remove the legend and then label. Okay. Now you can increase the size. Okay. Now you can see the intercept part of the scattered plot. All right. So, like, you can see different GDP growth according to years. Okay. So this is a great method if you have a lot of variables. For example, you have x and y. You want to see where does it meet, okay, and then how big is it, okay. That is the relation when we want to use the scatter plot. Now I would personally go to format painter. Now we have this, right? All right, now I will remove the legend. So I think that's about on the first half of this workshop. Do you guys have any questions so far? Ada soalan about data or about application or about okay, wonderful. So here you go to general. Anyways, you go to visual and then markers, and then there will be one particular part. It says size multiplier. Oh, okay. Here visual, and then you scroll down. There will be one part. It's called markers, and then you scroll down again. There will be size multiplier. Yeah, so you can change the size. Okay. I would personally manipulate the size because we can easily to see let's distinguish between each intercept, okay? Because if we put too small, the one that has very small value, it doesn't mean significant stuff lah. Right? Any more question? Yes.
What's the criteria? When do I have to use this chart or the donut chart or whatever?
Okay, great question. So, I would personally look what kind of data. That's number one. Number two is that if it's timeline, or time series or a year or a month, I would personally use a line chart. That's number one. But if it's cumulative or if it's near value to each other, I would use bar chart or column chart. But if it's heavily different to each other, because if you use, for example, if the first and the second value have huge significant differences, if you use bar chart, your line will be like exponential, right? If you want to better visualize it, you can use donut chart or pie chart. Yeah, it depends on what kind of data are you trying to deal with. But time series is line, and then or sales, I would personally use for example a line, or depends. If it's too close to each other, I would choose bar chart as well. Yeah, is that answering your question? Right, wonderful. Right. I think we covered most of the first part lah. Yeah. So for the next part, we would complete all. We have another one. We call it heat map chart, and then we complete all of those button lah before we go to the car sales. Okay, Malaysia's car sales. Okay, that will be our second part. Right. I think that will be wrap up for the first part lah. Right. Any question? Good. Going once? Going twice? All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Olive, for the insightful sharing. Ladies and gentlemen, we have now reached the end of our